All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Apothecary Diaries, episode 23.
Aha, shot across the bow.
Yeah, the way in which he views everybody as pawns and pieces on a board. Black and white, no room for color or complexity or even individuality. Right. Not even for Jinshi. But
what's that red?
For Mao Mao.
Yeah.
For Mao Mao, she's the only one real.
Yep. I like that this is a way that we can have full conflict in this. Like, yes, there's the intrigue, but you know, also the romance of the show. And I normally don't like having like villains, you know, in these kinds of shows. But I feel like this is a great way to be able to have conflict with the villain that doesn't actually tie to the romance,
right?
You know?
Because it's something more. There's something about his antagonism that has contradiction. He has aspects about him that are unresolved right now.
Well, or
and
just
we need to know like where those things extend to.
I mean, not even so much that, just the fact that the way that the conflict can be progressed with him is a battle of wits between him and Mao Mao, right?
Oh, yes, for sure.
Like that's a separate thing because he's a terrible person, and you know, and what he did to her mom and all that stuff, right? It doesn't actually really have anything to do with Jinshi or you know the romance that's happening between Jinshi and Mao Mao. So. Cool.
But yeah. All right, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Good morning.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Right back into it. Cool. Balsam and Woodsorrel. Oh, fun. Oh, yes. Fun.
Don't insult me.
A bet. Yeah. That's... Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Whoa. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's... I love it.
Oh, we must drink. Oh, is it very intense? 5 games, 5 cups. Wait. Oh, is it a poison? Oh.
In small amounts. Oh. Oh. Oh, I love it.
Holy
This is
shit.
so ballsy, though.
Yeah. But not him.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, what is going on inside that head? What do we talk about while we play? Wait. This is a test to see if he'll intentionally throw. Cause she's drinking them. They're poison. That's...
Wait.
Because... Yeah. Wait. This is a double blind. This is... Wait. And this is going so quickly, too.
Hang on.
Yep. He loses. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
選んでくれる？
好きなものをどうぞ。
味はあるのかい？
一口飲めば。
ラカンは2回まで負けることができる。そのうち一つでも味が違う。
Right, it's only interesting once you get to game 5. Right, right, right.
そのためにわざと負けるとは。
Right. Yes.
Okay, okay.
ではこれを。嫌な味だ。
Damn.
Okay, that's bad.
これで薬屋が3杯目に毒を飲む心配はなくなった。ラカンがこれ以上負ける必要はないというこ
Unless
と。
she poisoned all of them.
No, we saw her just
No, but if
but
she...
doing it beforehand.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
それに
Which is something that nobody would expect.
一杯では問題ない薬なのだろう。いくら憎らしいからといって。
酒は百薬の長と言いますから。
どういう
Wait.
Wait,
ジン様。酔っているだ
he's drunk? What kind of potent alcohol was this?
稽古なんですよ、この人。
Oh. So he has no tolerance.
いつもジュース
Okay.
酒を飲むのは見たこと
I
が。
like it.
ではさっき入れた液体は？
アルコールです。
Like hard spirits, yeah.
さっさとこの男を運び出して、義郎の花を選ばせましょう。
Right, I win, yeah.
Fantastic. Oh,
人間の首
damn.
は
Shit, here we go.
乳母と母を間違えるどころか男女の区別もつかなかった。
Wow.
これでは役に立たぬと愛人のもとに通うようになった。母はそんな父を取り戻そうと名家の長子でありながら、手すさびで覚えた語とシャンチーにのめり込み、体格で人
Sure,
を
find
覚
other
えるんだよ。
things. Their voices, yeah.
お前ならシャンチーかな。おじき
Oh,
だ
that
けは
wasn't a
自分を理解してくれた。
that wasn't a they're a
Okay.
pawn, it's just it was easy that way.
次第に人の顔が駒に見えるようになった。おじきが社に見えたときに、やはり優秀な男なのだ
Oh
と
no, it is a
再確
judgment
認
of
でき
them.
た。
Okay, okay. Yeah.
家柄のおかげでいきなり長を任された。自分が弱くとも部下を無駄なく使えばお釣りが来る。何より面白いゲームに違いなかった。付き合いで行った義郎で噂の妓女と対決することになる。無数の白黒の中、
Fun.
そこだけが鮮やかに輝いていた。女の名はフォンシェン。けれど所詮は胃の中の蛙。負けた。それ
Yeah.
も圧倒的に。
Yeah.
こんなに負けたのはいつ以来だ？ああ。人とは
Whoa.
こういう顔をしているの。宝泉家の実のような。触れたら弾
Whoa.
けそうな。次はまくるまい。ひたすらごとシャンチーを繰り返すだけの
Years,
仰せが誇りだけを固めたような性格だった。
私を産んだ女ならいますが、花町では義女は母になれませんので。
ある程度人気者になると売り惜しみが行われる。きつすぎる対応が
Right,
一
right.
部の小塚に受けていたらしい。次第に根もつり上がり、三月に一度会うのがやっとになる。宝泉家となんだ？
別名猫足です。
Oh.
解毒や虫刺されに効く生薬だとか。
Okay. Yeah.
成熟した実に触れると種が弾け飛ぶんです。
それは面白い。
Very apropos.
いつ来られますか？
Oh, she's actually being soft with him, whereas she's curt with everybody else, you know?
But I mean,
フォンシェンの身請け話を聞いたのは、フォンシェンの根は
okay.
小塚たちの競り合いで釣り上がっていった。
Right, so very, very extremely high price, yeah.
異母兄弟に後継ぎの立場を奪われた自分には太刀打ちできる額ではなかった。
たまには
what'd you
賭けを
do?
しませんか？あなたが勝てたら好きなものを与えましょう。
Oh.
好きなものをいただきましょう。
Oh, and it's a real 50-50. Yeah, choose a game.
Okay.
ふと悪いことが頭をよぎった。
5でよろしいですね。
ああ、
試合に集中したいから。
Ah, please leave, yeah. Oh, it's a much more like passive game. Wait.
手が重なっていた。
Whoa.
フォ
Oh,
前から
they.
は甘い言葉も何もなかった。
Oh.
Whoa.
ある意味似た者同士の二人だった。
子がやりたい。
自分とてシャンチーがしたいと思っていた。
Oh, this song still. Whoa.
優秀だったおじきが失脚した。
追放だと一族の連れ押しだ。
Wait.
優秀な
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
shit.
Oh, shit.
Oh!
奴と親交が
That's him!
Yeah.
家を出てしばし遊学しろ。
That's Mama's dad, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
なんだ。
いえ、なん
Oh, fuck. Okay.
上司である父に逆らえるはずがなかった。身請け話が破談になったとフォンシェンから
Right.
文が、
Yep.
私も半年ほどで戻れるだろうと、
So during that time, she's pregnant and
その時はまさか戻るのに3年もかかるとは
no
思いません
way.
Okay.
She wrote you so many letters.
土くれいや、しかも2つ違う
It's a finger? Oh, fuck.
What?
名の呪いが流行っているのは知っていた。身請け話が破談になった原因、もう一つの小さな指輪、ゴトシャンチしか頭になかった。こんな簡単な答えにすら。おいせは
Was she already sick?
No, well, I think the implication is that that's how she got pregnant, but
Oh!
right, hence her losing her value, but I don't know how the syphilis would have happened. Because if he had that, I'm pretty sure he'd know.
その原因はフォンシェの腹には
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
信用と価値が地に落ちた妓女がたどる末路をよたかのごとく客を取り
Ah,
Oh, and thus.
gotcha. Ah, gotcha.
Oh,
Okay.
no! Fuck!
どんなに嘆いたところで時は
Because she
戻ら
needs to support herself in some way.
Okay. Okay.
短絡的だった自分が招いたことだ。
So his own, like, self-hatred
Gotcha.
has turned
Okay.
him into who he is now, and he's just lost it all. Like,
ここは六章館か。めいめい。
どこぞ
yeah.
の鬼人の
Yeah.
使いの方が
まさかあんなに強い酒だとは思わなかったね。
Man drank Everclear.
Yeah.
And he drank it like that, you know?
本線の下で
Probably
会
on
話
an
をしてい
empty
た。
stomach.
Sure.
Yeah.
メイとはよく遊んでやった。筋がいいと褒めたらもじもじしていた。そういえば、
どうかなさいましたか？
いや、なんでもない。
はいどうぞ。
ああ
マオマオが作ったそうですよ。まぜまぜ。
Maza.
こちらの箱もマオマオが。
枯れた装備
形を保つことができるんですね。
Yeah.
めいめい姉さん。
Oh. Whoa.
So,
Whoa. Okay. So he's been trying to buy Mao Mao to basically make up for the fuck up he did basically all
I mean,
that time.
kinda, maybe, but
Well, the reason why the brothel hates him is because he basically abandoned her mother after getting her pregnant.
sure, but well, yeah. I have so many questions.
Wow.
Okay.
Lacan backstory.
Yeah, and it is very different than what we thought.
I think that yeah, the biggest part that I was the most like shocked by was that everything with regards to the mom was a pure accident. There was nothing even
Yeah.
remotely remotely like malicious at all. If anything, she loved him. She fell in love with him in the same way that he fell in love with her by her being the first human face he'd ever seen. So of course he's enamored. He's astonished. Now, what's cool about this is that we took so much time basically getting into the idea of him being the strategist with the monocle, with the specific greasy hair and the specific look, and we typecasted him so hard because the show did make him feel kind of creepy and weird.
No, that's how the characters referred to him. The creepy guy is back again.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Like he still said in one of his establishing conversations with Jinshi, I should have forced myself on her when I had the chance. I don't know what that even means now, unless he's talking about Mao Mao.
No,
given
Mao
that
Mao.
he did actually have sex with Mao Mao's mom, it wasn't some weird other
no.
Forced insemination thing.
They had consensual,
Yep.
full stuff there. So I need to recontextualize my entire viewpoint of his character because I was getting the vibe that there was something contradictory in the way that he did things. There were a lot of points where if he was even remotely malicious towards Mao Mao, he was being stupid. Like, it just didn't make sense.
Sure.
So then if he's the smart strategist, it's like, okay, so he's got a strategy here.
Yeah.
That maybe I can't see. But no, if anything, it's that his strategy is he's trying to basically bring back his family together. And yet that's the thing that's weird here is that what was his efforts that he did to basically bring a healthy situation for his for Feng Shan?
Right.
If she was put into the care of the courtesans at the the verdigris house, and that's it, okay, then what I guess then makes it where I got so bamboozled was that the house specifically saw him in such a negative way because of the act that he did where he didn't come back for 3 years.
But again, that's something that feels really like
I guess effectively he killed somebody from their perspective.
Sure, but this is something that I want to see. Like this is the I think the show making us see Lacan in the way that we've seen him up until now, even if we took it maybe farther than some people
definitely took it too far.
Yeah, but I think the making us see him in that very negative light was intentional, so that then they can do this and hey, now it's an intentional pivot.
Right. But
And
I
then
think
from here we can see where
the
that
kind
goes.
of negative light though is going to be different based on the viewer. I think the main thing that we saw correctly was that he was wanting to purchase Mao Mao. And we just didn't know why. Well, when we found out he was her dad, then it becomes a thing of like, oh, well, so we've had a lot of instances in the past in the story where people have tried to buy courtesans and they needed to basically figure out a way to make it so that they could reasonably make this happen by financial stuff here.
Right.
And so his whole situation is that Mao Mao was never on the table to be sold. And probably also another thing was that there was probably also specific actions taken by the old lady and or any of the other people involved to be like, specifically, we're not going to let him have his daughter as punishment because the guy fucked over this woman's life.
Well, and this is the
indirectly.
This is the part that feels odd. It could be an aspect of where it's so okay. If you have people that are in the sex worker industry, that means you have a means of birth control. Otherwise, it's just not gonna happen, right? Like that's just not gonna last,
Right.
So the fact that she got pregnant, that is something that was theoretically
her decision.
Avoidable. That was her decision.
I think that was her decision, and she thought what was going to happen was because they loved each other, that this was their ploy together so that she could get bought out by him because nobody else would want her because she then got pregnant, but he still would. So he then goes on his trip with the military and everything.
Yeah.
And what should have been a 3 to 6 month thing, he comes back before she's finished pregnancy, takes 3 years. She
Right.
writes him thinking, you'll come back, right? You'll come back.
And this is the part that I feel still confused kind of about the details of what
yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
A plan like that is not something you just do without prior communication about it, right?
Well, right.
Like-
So they just communicated off screen at the very
well,
least.
and that's what I'm figuring had to
After
have
they had
happened.
sex, you know.
And yet, the way in which it went wrong felt like it was something as a result of there not being communication.
Oh,
right.
See,
Like-
I think there's an easy answer for it. Basically, it's the idea that there was communication, but then he basically goes dark,
Right.
And she's thinking like, oh, you'll contact me by this point. You probably can't get letters from where you're at to come all this way. So once he's not communicating by that point because he's gone for so long in a different area or what have you.
Sure.
She then starts to panic.
Right. But he would know, especially as like a smart guy and everything, strategist, all that stuff. Oh, I'm not like, it's not what I expected, right? Like, oh no, you know, and just they would know, like they would know from the idea of this is how we'll be able to be together, that, hey, if I get you pregnant here,
Right.
you won't have value as a courtesan, right? He would be able to put 2 and 2 together that it might be then difficult for her to support herself, even in just the, maybe they don't realize for the first 3 months, you know, or something, right? But then, you know, like in
Right.
the time after that, right? And then especially once he realizes that it's going to take longer, like,
Yeah, he fucked up.
you're telling me he didn't like send money back or, you know, or like any number of things. Like he it seemed the way this episode portrayed him, it seemed like he was genuinely surprised to find out that things went badly. Yes, he wouldn't have
Well,
known about the syphilis because
there's-
of how she had to support herself.
Right,
or
right.
whatever.
I think there's a difference between him thinking, oh, like she'll, you know,
Like
be able to support herself just fine.
right, her value will be less, but she'll still be able to work.
Right,
kind of
right,
a
right.
thing.
It's the kind of thing where it's the, oh no, the worst possible thing happened because of this.
Sure,
And
he was just bad at math, basically.
Well, I mean, kind of, but I mean, like, as far as the odds of contracting syphilis go.
Well, no. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the like, oh, she wasn't able to safely continue to support herself, right? Because if she's in this state where like she is the valuable courtesan, right? Then I could totally see it being something where he's thinking like,
no. The
her
answer's
stock will
the
drop
answer's
a
in the
bit.
episode, Jacob. He didn't think she was going to be pregnant.
Then there's no plan. Then
There
there's no plan.
There was no plan. Yeah.
And then at that point, he's not at fault.
no.
And unless it's something where they don't actually have birth control, right? If it's something where they don't actually have birth control, then theoretically she's not at fault either. But then it goes into a
Under
weird
what?
different.
But yeah, under what
territory.
world is he at fault then?
No, exactly.
Oh,
And so-
because he slept with her.
right, but that's
He shouldn't have slept with her.
as if she
basically.
didn't have the like, you know, right? Like that's not something.
So from,
you know,
again from there from okay.
If they just believe that he forced himself on her,
yeah, that's
right?
that's actually where it could be here is that she thought that he genuinely loved her. The story changes after it's been, you know, this many
Right.
years without communication.
Sure.
She then basically makes it to be a thing of where he forced himself on me. He clearly didn't love me. This was all a lie.
But again, with this like strategist and all that stuff, she's really smart and everything. She never said, hey, this is my plan. Also, with the birth control thing, he would be aware if that's something that's, well, unless it's something that's entirely on her end, right? Like the fact that it wouldn't be being like, it's just,
Yeah, I feel like we're missing something. I feel
yeah,
like we're missing something.
I feel more confused after this episode, even though it's like, oh, okay, it's not what we were originally thinking, you know?
Right. The big thing that I'm excited about specifically is that clearly he's wanting to buy Mao Mao to basically atone for what he did. Basically, he realizes he fucked up things so royally with her, with the mom and everything, that he's like, I need to do what I can now. And yet, because of what he did, the house will not let him buy her. They will not let him anywhere near basically her or basically the mom. And we might need to go back and double check some things with the mom and her status and
Right,
stuff,
like-
because there might even be some things where it's like,
Was he financing the house to then take care of her?
Yeah,
or
yeah,
was
probably.
the house just taking care of her because, oh, this is a fucked up thing that happened to you. We're
yeah,
sorry.
it's
you know,
it's
and
something
he just
we'll have to go
never
and
tried
watch.
to
Well,
mend
we'll have to go
things?
back and watch the episodes to make sure we've actually got all our
Yeah.
ducks in a row here, because the big thing
Mm-hmm.
is the relationship with Mao Mao. Mao Mao is actually willing to forgive him. Mao Mao is like, no, do you see this rose here? It's withered. Yeah, I'm going to kind of fuck with you a little bit here, but
Right, I'm telling you what I want you to do without
Yeah.
using literal words.
I
Yeah.
gamed you into,
Right.
now you have to go and do this.
Right, and yet the like, you know, baseline thing that we got from Mao Mao is that even when, you know, this dude's name is mentioned, right, the look of such hatred basically comes over her face.
Right,
that
because
she's
because
like, oh,
everybody told her the story of what he did, basically. So she had to have spent all this time figuring it out. That's my take with this.
Maybe.
Is that the reason why we went on this whole story is that we and the viewer and Mao Mao found out the truth about him, basically. They figured it out. So from Mao Mao's perspective, she's like, now I know. And now that I know, I'm willing to actually like kind of end the feud, end the divide.
right, but I'm gonna basically make you like pay penance, I guess, or like,
I'm gonna make you do one final thing, basically.
yeah, it's
And that's where I need to go back and watch the episodes before this to make sure I've got everything all lined up properly, because my perceptions of things were colored over so much that I didn't see any of the things that he was doing, except for maybe towards the end, like the last like 2 or 3 episodes, as being like something where he was trying to help Mao Mao. But I mean, the idea that we don't have an antagonist, I'm very glad about that. I'm very glad about that, because you and I were just talking about this in the intro there.
No, I don't
want an
like
antagonist
villains
in this type of
in
stories.
romance stories.
Yeah.
But I think they managed to make the way that I believed Lacan was being set up, which it feels weird. A lot of the very specific things that they were doing to make us hate him.
But the thing is,
you know,
then you're going to see things a certain way once you've already confirmed things to be
totally.
a certain way.
No, that is
So
absolutely a thing.
Your perception can easily get covered with something when you read one thing a specific way, and that's the part.
No,
that's,
right, but it's not just one thing. It's
No.
him
No.
talking to Jinshi,
No.
Mao Mao's opinion of him, the house's opinion.
But
of
at
him,
this point, Jacob, the main thing that is like important, I think, for us to get at here is that's not who his character is. And when we got his character out the gate, he was so trope-wise that character,
Right.
But that was the subversion. The idea was not in actually the plot and what he did, but it was more in the he's the character that comes along creepily asking about the young girl.
Yeah.
He has a lot of design things that make him look basically a little bit,
Sure.
freaky and creepy and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we infer based on that stuff out the very gate.
No, right. But it was very much confirmed by the actions that then he takes. Like, he still did try to get Jinshi killed, right? And so maybe then this explains...
Well, I don't know.
he totally did.
No,
Like,
I don't think he did.
he worked
actually.
very hard to get that plan to happen.
Again, we had it all basically set up that the investigation happened and the lady basically was
right,
Suiren was.
But he was her accomplice.
But that
Like,
was
he's the
never
one that helped her-
confirmed. That was never confirmed, though.
That it was confirmed that she had an accomplice that got her out.
Right. But the part that I think is a little bit more like damning about this, more specifically, is that he probably at the very least.
Okay, so then that
saw-
explains. All right, if the accomplice wasn't him,
Yeah.
and it's actually just someone else, then that would explain why he supported Mao Mao in getting past the guards,
Right.
and then was terrified when, or shooketh when Jinshi comes out carrying her. In that, even though he also did set her up to then find the pieces of the puzzle that were connected to the conspiracy,
pieces?
the lead, like
That
various
might,
different
that
things.
might also be him trying to like figure it out himself as well. Like the parts that I think is where you're right about something. There was some setup at the very least, some antagonism towards Jinshi, is that he doesn't like Jinshi. That's not
Right. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not even remotely like
Up for
subtle
debate.
in anything
Yeah.
like that.
Sure.
But one of the things that makes a lot of sense
Mm-hmm.
from the idea of him being the dad, basically, is that Jinshi is the one that just bought Mao Mao.
No, right. Yeah. No, that
So
that
it's
totally
the-
makes sense.
From his perspective, Mao
Yes.
Mao,
He needs to save her from Jinshi. Yeah.
right, and it's impossible
Assuming
for
best
him.
possible situation.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's impossible for him to go about things in the I'm going to buy her kind of strat he had been employing
Sure.
before,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Jinshi is who he is.
You're
There's,
right.
There's nothing he could do. So I could see him have maybe been trying to, if he was trying to assassinate Jinshi, which would be wild. But if he went to
Hmm.
that extreme to basically be like, okay, cool, this is the only way I can get my daughter back, then it brings him into that area where, yeah, he is still an antagonist in that respect, but it's more that he's the antagonist of their relationship, you know. Which then it's not.
But then also, like there.
Yeah,
this
it's interesting.
This is such a wild shift from what my perceptions of Lacan have been, that it kind of has me feeling like I need to, like, sort of either entirely forget everything that I've seen up
we just
until
need to
now,
rewatch. We
or
just need to
entirely rewatch the show
I
because
need-
I
I need
had
to-
such a fundamentally incorrect understanding.
Yeah,
of things.
I just need to rewatch the last like 10, 11 episodes basically, because I think
Sure,
that,
yeah, because he wasn't introduced in the first.
No, he
or
wasn't.
In the early,
The other like big reveal is that Mao Mao's dad, who's been taking care of it this time, this older guy, is the uncle of Lacan. So she's
I like it.
related to him by being the great niece of, or the grand niece, I guess,
right.
of this guy, and so.
No, and the story of what actually happened never got brought up.
Well,
in,
that's again the
you
part.
know.
That's again the part that I think is rather tough here. Is that if we think about this from Lacan's perspective, which was what this whole episode and the episode
Yep.
prior was trying to get us to do here,
Right.
is that he can't refute the facts that he got a courtesan pregnant who isn't one that sleeps with people. Like I mean, maybe she does, but her whole thing primarily is I give you the best company,
sure.
right?
And maybe that's where it's no, they didn't have any form of birth control, and that's the whole point of the buying out the courtesans,
Right.
and hence all the non-sexual stuff basically that people would pay to do.
Yeah.
So to sort of like get close to the person without
Right.
actually having sex with them. But that is a very different kind of like sex work business that I would then, full salutations that they would be able to make it actually work when it's
Yeah.
that chaste.
There's another couple things here. One, we know culturally that the virginity of certain courtesans is like
Valued and all that stuff.
immaculate.
Yeah.
So that was a very clear thing with her. Everybody knew that. Two, the reason why Mei Mei probably is in attendance for these kinds of things is because you need
for
a
that
third person to just make sure everything's
chaperone.
Yeah. Chaperone it. Now, because she's like Feng Chan's like the big deal for this house here, she can order Mei Mei like one night after she's been with a regular for all this time to be like, hey, I'm gonna focus on this game.
Right,
Go
right,
away.
exactly.
And then specifically, she has an onus to keep the secret as long as possible that she slept with the guy because she loves him, right?
And that's why.
And then when she gets pregnant, it's the shit.
Okay.
I can't hide it now.
So then basically he ends up being the scapegoat. Mei Mei then that's the reason why she still doesn't mind this guy, because she's like, no, I actually know what the situation was.
Right.
But in order to make sure that, say, the house will continue to
Right.
take care of her,
Yeah.
you need to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Or something like that, right?
Or also just you still did break protocol.
No, right, but then it's the same frustration with
Yes.
I forget the name that they gave for Mao Mao's mom. Right,
It's
like
in Feng Shan.
Feng Shan. Yeah, thank you.
I believe so, yeah.
And so it's just there's a lot of communication here that I need to know what was communicated and what wasn't, right? And to who and about what and all of those things, because it changes things a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very glad though if we can go into like the second season of this story with Lacan's most antagonistic thing being that he just doesn't like that Jinshi seems to like Mao Mao. And
Sure.
it's the idea that, well, I am
Right.
very aware of how much a man's lusts can ruin basically a woman's life.
Yeah.
And I, at the very least, feel such immense shame for who I am.
But that won't come up when I tell you, oh, the way to devalue a courtesan, have you ever thought about that, right? Like he's bringing up something that would be the biggest,
I think
oh my
again,
God, what have I done in my life?
Well, I think, again, that's the tricky part here is, for whatever reason, he's the kind of person that doesn't want to tell her in such a way that it feels like that he's trying to persuade and or manipulate her to see things from a different perspective.
And he could totally have been vilified by the house to the point where basically nothing that he says is something that Mao would listen to.
I think
that's possible.
I think that's actually
there's a lot of people that could theoretically speak to the contrary, but okay.
No. Who could speak to the
contrary?
Mei
Mei for one, the uncle as another.
Why
right?
would the uncle know?
He's the uncle of the person who it happened to. There would be the possibility if he's really trying to get to
but he has no factual.
Mao Mao, and he's like, no, this is all a whole thing. Yes, this has to be something that the house needs to know so that they don't turn her out on the street. Can you at least tell my daughter?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like there's any number of ways. Like, yeah.
Where was I going with this? The idea that if he's not the antagonist, we can have an actual, honest, really cool next episode here where characters who can be kind of like secondary to this whole thing can force the conversation out of Mao Mao about like what her thoughts are about this.
Okay.
And part of Mao Mao that I find so fascinating as a protagonist here is that she's smart, but she's not going to in a meta way. She's not going to explain her actions for the viewer's sake.
Okay.
She's going to actually just go and do her thing.
Right. She has her play with the whole chess thing. No, she can't beat Lacan at chess.
No.
But she conned him with basically the outside rules of the game and, oh, hey, it's alcohol, right? And I know you're a sober person and it's really strong.
Right.
There you go.
The idea that she made him intentionally throw was, I think, the final confirmation for her that
it's the outwitting, even if this is a game she's not familiar with.
But it's the idea that, like, oh yeah, he genuinely does care about me.
Right.
Like it's not just I would hate for you to be put into a situation where you'd be devalued and then you'd be abandoned.
Sure.
The idea that he wouldn't even risk doing something that the courtesans of the house would have claimed him to have done to her mom in this moment here to try and get to Mao Mao. So again, he wouldn't be willing to do whatever it took because he actually does just care about her well-being ultimately. Like,
I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
But it'll be a fun rewatch of the last like 10 or 11 episodes or so. Because...
And next episode will also be really fun.
Next episode's going to be super fun because it's a finale.
Well, yeah, right. It's the finale. We had a big moment of progress here, but then also given this bombshell being dropped, you figure out exactly what kind of like direction it's pointing in once you then start traveling in that direction, right?
Right.
But
also just the follow-up of a person's life who grows up believing they can never distinguish between people and thus have no real relationships with them. Mao Mao's dad, the absolute wisdom sage Giga Chad, ends up making his own actions that end up kind of screwing up things with the family. But over the course of this time, basically saves Lacan by giving him a way to use this to his advantage. Then ends up being put into a situation where the only person who ever kind of gave him that, you can play with me at the field that I find some level of enjoyment in life, ends up being the first human being to him. Even the sensei that taught him this stuff, he never saw his face or what have you.
Yeah.
That's something that is a fun like character psychological flaw. But with the way that we're kind of in a semi-ancient times kind of environment here, you know, someone having potentially some like actual thing wrong with their eyes physically that leads them to be this way, and them having their whole character shaped from that, I just find that really fun, given that Mao Mao's an apothecary. So if it is anything actually physically wrong, there could be a point way later down the line that she ends up helping him. I doubt that's the case because it's been so long.
Yeah, I think it's just a mental thing, right? He's been like this since birth.
Yeah, probably.
That's just.
But that means it's physical. That means it's physical. It's not psychological then. If it was psychological, then it wouldn't actually. He would have developed it over time. You know, he would have lost that connection and stuff like that. But that means I'm saying that if it's physical, it's potentially treatable, which is fun as well. But yeah, that all that time he's incapable of forming real connections. The first connection that he basically ends up building up here, he fucks up the communication side of things at the very least.
Something happens.
Yeah. You know, and that whole thing is ruined. It is something where I do want to know, like, what has he been doing in the meantime that contributes to that? So
did he try and like, oh my God, can I rectify this? Can I help take care of you or anything like that? You know, totally possible she would just be like, no, I fucking hate you, you know.
Right. And I'm guessing that's why he visited the Verdigris house so often, was that was his thing, was that he was coming in to either check up on her, to do another payment to make sure that she can still live there. Yeah. Because she's not giving any work to anything there.
Yeah.
And then the amount of misinterpretations that not only we've had, but the characters in the show have had with Jinshi and some of the Verdigris house people as a whole is pretty staggering. So I'm excited to see where Mao Mao's interpretation of things was changed for the most part, or if she kind of ends up summarizing it a little bit in this next episode here.
Yeah, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. But damn. Okay. I was not expecting the full backstory.
No, me neither.
Recontextualization.
And I gotta say, because like we talked a lot about the backstory itself, because that's a big bombshell, right?
Yeah.
But the way in which the conflict actually ended up going down between Mao Mao and Lacan, I loved that. That
was
great.
Fast and
it was
so
fast.
Clever.
It was to the point. It was clever. I bought that this. You know, Mao Mao didn't suddenly reveal that she was actually a master chess player and she'd been No, she conned him. She outwitted him.
She conned him so good.
You just play a different game. There you go, right? Like that was great. Yeah.
I also love the idea that Mao Mao they were all poisoned with alcohol, and because of her poison resistance, basically, she was drinking the same alcohol as him, and she was just like, yeah. I didn't feel a dang thing, because alcohol is a poison, basically.
Yep.
So the idea that Mao Mao could drink
she
down
took a double, and one was enough to knock him out.
Yeah. Right. But she could drink probably like Jinshi under the table,
absolutely,
like in a really funny way.
Yes, 100%.
I just love the idea that I drink poisons and it makes me tickle, you know, keeps coming up.
Oh yeah.
But every time they add a new thing to it, I'm like, yes, that makes sense.
Even like this is how like slick this plan was. Even Mao Mao getting intoxicated from having a double dose of some very strong alcohol, wasn't a problem.
No.
Because guess what? She gets really flushed and excited when she drinks poisons. So they're not going to think much of it. And she wasn't able to compete with him from the standpoint of playing the game anyways.
Right.
So it's not like, you know, it's not like there would be like a big noticeable like difference there.
In that respect, that's something that makes her seem incredibly smart, because what she's able to do is know how badly he wants to set up some kind of situation like this that Jinshi would have to approve of and all this stuff there.
Yeah, Jinshi's even a witness.
Yet, because he's such a strategist, you have to give him something that he really wants, and you have to know that he really wants it.
And
So
make him truly believe this is in the bag, I
right,
ought to win.
Because, well, no, because this is the part that's tricky here. He has to believe that it's not an auto win, because if someone presents you with an auto win, then you're like,
why the fuck are they
why
doing
are they
this?
doing
Yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah.
They're stupid. And because he knows, one, Mao Mao isn't stupid. Two, she's also just pretty dang smart. He has to be so
Hence,
overtly like, I must make this bet.
well, hence
I
him
must make this
thinking
bet.
that she was just like good at chess, or maybe that was Jinshi. But like, you know, him thinking like going in and like, okay, he fully thrashes her on the first 2 games, right? And then it's the wait a minute. Like by the time he'd realize what was up or that something was up along those lines, you're already in the game. You can't back out.
Yeah, you can't back out. Which is why I was thinking like, oh, he's got to, free concede here in order to communicate that he cares enough about her that he doesn't want her to drink these poisons here. And yet,
and the loss for him isn't the worst it could be. You know?
And here's another thing. He kind of had this like, wait, what moment where she said, actually, I'm under contract, so you'll have to get me after that time. And he kind of goes like, wait, what?
Sure, that could be the part of where it's like, no, you don't get it, Dad.
Yeah.
I want to be here.
I want to be here. This is a professional relationship. And so he then thinks, oh, you dog, Jinshi, you. That's when he like shifted into his like cute little wolf kind of thing there. Is he's looking at Jinshi and going like, you like...
You cozied up to my daughter,
yeah,
basically.
Yeah. Basically by like, but also like you did it in such a way that is so
but also
overt and like...
But also like it would have to be like some really serious like, him taking the fall for what happened, because the entire time when like, okay, maybe the house keeps her from being in contact with him when he would like approach and everything. But if he managed to just talk with her and be like, maybe she doesn't believe him, but if he got to the point where he was able to be like, so here's what happened, here's why nobody else can know that, I'm...
Right, and I think that's the point, is that they were so protective of her. They were so entirely protective of her. And that they had so conditioned her that this is the story, this is the way things are, that she had to have figured it out over the course of the last 5 episodes.
Right, and if Mei is the one who knows the thing because she was the one who basically gave them the time to be together, she still doesn't want, like...
Well, it might also be a thing where...
Well,
yeah, it might also be the thing where Mei is also like, guys, it's more complicated than that. And they're like, Mei, I don't care. I don't pay you to think. I don't pay you to do anything like that.
Yeah.
Regardless of what happened, the house is fucked if, we, get into this kind of a situation here. So we are thinking about the house. We're thinking about Mao Mao here.
Well, no, it wouldn't be thinking about Mao Mao.
Well, no, because it's they wouldn't believe Mei necessarily either. Like,
well, but then it's not the we don't care what happened, right? It's the So it'll be interesting to see what direction they take this with.
I
moving forward.
I have personally now that we've seen this, I have a little bit more. I can sense that little bit more of economic ruthlessness from the Obachan of the Verdigris house.
Sure.
And if anyone's an antagonist here, it'd
her?
probably be her, actually.
Yeah.
In that she made a money call potentially over a family. And that might be the tough call to
and yet she was turning down the money calls. It's weird.
Yeah. So we'll have to again rewatch that stuff. But really crazy plot twist. And I love that in some ways it felt like it was built up to, but I had so put Lacan in a different way in my head that I didn't see the hints until it was like 2 episodes away.
Well, and that was one of the things that I wish I'd actually brought it up, because the OP and how he's portrayed in the OP is very much the tragic, tortured person.
Yes.
Right?
Way more tortured than malicious.
All
yes.
the vibes that we got from him earlier on. And that was something that I always thought was kind of odd, because
so he's clearly, a master masking person, which then made us think he was
more
of a manipulator,
Right, or the sort of the cool motive still murder, right? Like, he has some tragic backstory that is where we can believe why he believes that all this is necessary. Oh, hey, and then he still does monstrous stuff or whatever.
Sure.
Whereas in actuality, no.
No. And in a lot of ways, I think one of the things that's kind of cool about his character here is that when we're introduced to him, he feels like he's supposed to be someone important, right?
Oh.
But in context to Jinshi, Jinshi is like a god in this world here. Because of not just his secret, but literally his position in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So Lacan coming to him is almost like trying to come to that like that Nepo baby where you're like, fuck, I need to work with this guy. And so I kind of need to have him like me, but fuck, I can't stand this guy.
And then even within the context of him maybe being in a powerful position now, that as opposed to, say, 18 years ago, right, or whatever, right, when all of this happened, maybe he's kicking ass and taking names and, like, working his way up.
Right.
But still,
back then,
come back in 20 years, dude. You know, right?
Exactly.
Like, you know.
Which is another wild thing there is that if we get that full, like, understanding of things of what he did over those 20 years, he could have been slaving, working his ass off to try and just get to a position where he could then have the money to try and make things
fork
right.
over the dosh to be able to, like...
And then Jinshi comes along and buys Mao Mao and is like, ha, psych!
Oh, yeah, no, that would absolutely feel like a bad joke. And I could absolutely see someone as a result of all of these... Because this is what I was originally thinking it was going to be, is that, it started as something maybe fairly benign, but then as a result of all of this crazy circumstance, then bitterness sets in, all of these other things. Maybe he gets a bit kooky, you know, as he's like... You know, nothing's going right kind of a thing. Now he is truly an antagonist, but it's the, like, you
just need some perspective, dude. Like, Mao Mao wants to be here. Mao Mao's doing great. Mao Mao is so smart and so good at keeping her head down that actually, like, even the times where they are calling upon her and she is getting into situations where she gets hit by a guard with a club, you know, like that whole scene as well, like, has a whole another crazy meaning as well.
And to say nothing of Mao Mao's whole, like, the whole thing of her wanting to keep her head down, and when the vibe that we had of Lacan earlier, that was the, that's the specific, you know, story.
Oh, you thought, okay. I gotcha. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
That's the specific story of why she knows she needs to keep her head down, because some other powerful person could come along and basically ruin the person's life.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Gotcha.
You know?
Oh, I think I took it where it was like, I have to go like 4 degrees to the left, basically, where it's the like, yes, that, but it's more that if she's in a situation like that, it's not that it would hurt her, it would hurt like other people potentially and stuff like that. So I guess that's kind of the same, but.
Well, yeah, potentially. And theoretically, that could still be the case if everybody's been lying to Mao Mao.
Well, at the very least, people are telling something that is not factually true.
Right, or maybe it's the, hey, the communication doesn't matter. This is still what ended up happening. Theoretically, Mao Mao could also be pissed at her mom, and it's just, yeah, she's in such a sort of fucked state right now that, like, you know, I'm not going to kick her while she's down kind of a thing.
Oh, God, yeah. This happened 20 years ago. There's nothing you can do.
Right, but, like, but then why would she still be mad at Lacan?
Well, again,
right, that's where you'd probably
I don't know. I need to go and watch the episodes again. But oh my gosh, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. And also be sure to check out our Twitch channel. So yeah, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.